I'm here with your forecast for the month of July 2020. I know this is not like one of the most popular series of videos, but the people who like it seem to really like it, so I'm going to keep doing it. Also, I enjoy talking about astrology, so that is what I'm going to do. We are in eclipse season that is carrying over from the month of June. So we had, eclipses usually come in twos, but this month they come in three. So we had a lunar eclipse beginning of June, a solar eclipse on the summer solstice, and now on July 5th we have a lunar eclipse as well. So some of that eclipse energy is still continuing forward. Eclipses tend to bring things to light that have been hidden. They also bring things to an end, sudden endings, things just stopping and not continuing on. And they're often endings that needed to happen, and they're usually because of the information that's come to light over the lunar eclipse and throughout the eclipse season. So some revelations and things are going to continue on for the next couple of weeks or so. The lunar eclipse on July 5th, lunar eclipses are always on a full moon. It is at 14 degrees of Capricorn. So if 14 degrees is a point in your chart, that's like a sensitive point, it may affect you more than someone else. Also, if you have a lot of Capricorn or Cancer energy in your chart, this is the last eclipse on the Cancer-Capricorn axis for a long, long time. Eclipse cycles are about 1.5 to 2 years. So things that have been going on since July of 2018, particularly in your Cancer and Capricorn houses, take a look at those because issues will start to wrap up over the next little while. This is the final one, and then we move forward into the fully into the Gemini and Sagittarius axis. So it's wrapping up some of those issues. Things are coming to a head. It's kind of like that little piece of the puzzle, that last little piece is coming to light so that you can move forward into other issues, into a new cycle as we go forward. This particular lunar eclipse is, there's a sextile to Neptune, and it is conjunct Jupiter and Pluto. So this eclipse brings out energies of issues of power, issues around money potentially, issues around expanding ourselves in that Capricorn house that you have. So for example, my Capricorn house is the 4th house. So any issues with family, any issues with actual physical home, all those things will come to a conclusion, or information will come to light during this time. The sextile with Neptune does make this, a little bit lighter, a little bit better. It means that there's sort of like a spiritual type perspective on this particular one. So when we hear things, we may receive some surprising news. It probably will be like, that's the last piece of the puzzle, but it's not terribly surprising. We'll be like, yeah, that sounds about right. So watch for information that comes to light over the next while. It is a full moon, so people will be like a little bit more emotional than usual. Watch for miscommunication because we are in a Mercury retrograde. So if something seems funny or doesn't sound right, or you feel sensitive about it, ask for clarification. Be clear with others as much as you can, and be patient with the others and yourself, because we are in a Mercury retrograde, which requires us to be patient. So a little bit of carryover from the month of June. We just had Mars move into Aries, and he's going to be there for 6 months, like into January of 2021. Now, Mars rules Aries, so he's very much at home there. Mars is it's sort of the planet that rules things like conflict, war, competition, exercise, sports. It rules our desire, our willpower. So we can use that energy, like that fiery Aries energy, for good or ill. So a good way to use it is an exercise regime. A good way to use it is to have a goal in your Aries house and really focus on and put your energy towards that in a positive way. Any kind of positive competition, we can put our energy there, exercising, sports, that kind of thing. Those are all really positive ways to use that energy that we're going to be sitting with for the next 6 months. Not so positive is starting fights, looking for arguments, that kind of thing is like not a great way to use that energy, because it can get you into trouble, and it can cause like all sorts of arguments and fights in that particular house in your chart. So try to avoid that. Think more, how can I use this energy in a positive way? How can I use this to make something happen? Now, the reason that he's in there for 6 months, because he's usually only in a sign for about 2 months, is because of a retrograde that's coming up in September. So he moves forward all the way through Mars almost, and then he moves backwards almost to the beginning, and then he has to go back all the way through, which is going to take time. So I'll talk more about the Mars retrograde as we get closer to that, but just so you know, the Mars and Aries energy may sort of up people's feelings of aggressiveness, frustration, competition, but it could still be used in really positive ways. So keep that in mind as you look at the Mars and Aries. Now on July 1st, I'm posting this on, I'm filming this beforehand, but I'll probably be posting it on the Friday, so we'll already have passed. By the way, happy Independence Day to everyone that's American, and happy Canada Day to Canadians. So we have Saturn is going back into the sign of Capricorn. So Saturn is in retrograde, and he'll be in retrograde, I think, until sometime in September, and he spends a large amount of time in retrograde. So we usually don't feel it as much on a personal level. It's more in the outer world that we feel it. We saw the lifting of restrictions in a lot of parts of the world from the lockdown, because Saturn represents restrictions, rules, and when he goes retrograde, we often see some of those rules loosening up. And so we've seen some of that go on. Now, with him moving back into Capricorn, some of the issues we've been dealing with for the past 3 years around restriction, particularly when it comes to things like government, boundaries, businesses, some of that will start to return. So we have here Saturn in, what? That's Venus, Lou. Where is my... Come on, where are you, Saturn? Be patient with me. Here we go. Saturn, I found Saturn. Okay, so Saturn in Capricorn. This one says riches, and it's because Saturn in Capricorn tends to favor those in authority, those in charge, those already who have wealth and resources. And so it's about the slow buildup of things. So he moves backwards from Aquarius, eccentricity, back into Capricorn. So you really start to see some issues around things like borders and walls and businesses, the rule of law. You may see a return to some of those restrictions during this time as he's going backwards. He's revisiting Capricorn issues for the last time before he moves into Aquarius again, and which won't be till December. Until he's revisiting them before he goes forward into Aquarius with some of the new issues that he's brought up over the past few months. So you may see some old issues come to light, but they're looking to be wrapped up and reviewed, because the retrograde is really about reviewing some of those things. So he's asking us to review, what restrictions do we want, what rules do we want, what boundaries do we want in our lives. July 12th, the Mercury retrograde ends. We have usually about 3 retrogrades a year. He's in Cancer, so you might be feeling very emotional and sensitive. You might misinterpret things emotionally for the next while. That's okay. Be patient with yourself and others. Like I said, ask for things to be repeated, ask for clarification, talk about your feelings. So July 12th, he's going to go direct again. So you'll start to see some of those issues lightening up as you move forward into July. We don't have a ton of planets changing signs this month. We really only have the Sun changing signs and Saturn changing signs. So there's not a ton of stuff going on, but it still will be affecting us. July 14th and 15th, the Sun goes opposite Jupiter and Pluto. So issues around power, authority, the expansion of power, the misuse of power are going to come up around that time. So watch for that. July 20th, we have our new moon. It's our second new moon of the year in Cancer. It is at 28 degrees of Cancer. And so the issues that, it wasn't a good time at the last new moon because there was an eclipse to set intentions for your Cancer house. But this one is better. This one you can go ahead, treat it like a regular new moon, set your intentions for your Cancer house. If you don't know what your house is, then Cancer rules things like the home, family. It rules our past. It rules our relationship with our parents as well. So if you have any intentions for your family or your home, this is a good time to set those intentions. It is a new moon that's going to be opposite the Capricorn signs of Jupiter, Pluto, and now Saturn again. So it's asking us to integrate, like it's asking us to say like, okay, given the restrictions, given the things that I'm working with right now, what's a realistic intention I can set for my home and my family right now? We also have the sun opposite Saturn that day as well. So it's really asking us to work within our restrictions that we have. So it's really asking us to look at like, okay, in my own home, what can I do? What can I do in my own home, my own family? What can I do in my personal life? Even if I can't affect all the things going on in the world around me, I can still make an effect in my own personal life. So that's really what this new moon on the 20th is going to be about. The sun moves into Leo on the 22nd, as it always does around this time of year. So our focus shifts away from the home and, you know, kind of chilling out at home or chilling out on the beach, which is very Cancer, to going out more, having more fun. But that may be restricted depending where you are in the world and what's going on. But our focus definitely turns to our social group for the month of, for July 22nd to about August 22nd. And then on July 27th, Jupiter has a sextile with Neptune. With Neptune. Jupiter has sextile with Neptune. And he's really going to ask us to expand our sense of spirituality. He's going to be asking us to expand how we work in the world with our spirituality. Does our spirituality match up with what we're doing in the outside world? So he's asking us to expand, to grow. We may have some spiritual insights on a personal level around that time. So watch for that. So, you know, even though there aren't like a lot of, you know, planets changing signs or stuff going on in the month of July, it's still going to be, I think, a very important month. I think there's going to be a lot of people sort of saying like, okay, there's all this stuff going on in the world. What can I do on a personal level in my own little world to affect change and to move forward with things? And I think that's going to be the big theme that's going on for the month of July. So let me know what you think. If you have any questions or any suggestions for other upcoming videos, please put below. If you're interested in more astrological stuff from me, I have a newsletter on my website. You can go to my website to sign up for it. Totally free. I put out a weekly newsletter letting you know what's going on for the week in a little more detail than just this general forecast. And then as well, I also do have astrological readings on my Etsy shop if you're interested in those things. But yeah, that's what I have for astrology. So let me know what you think. You guys are awesome. Shout out to my patrons, especially Jamie, Nathan, and Marie. You guys are awesome. And as always, peace and love.